Guys, it's Mo from Maritza, and today we are talking Fall TBR, my autumnal reads. So I definitely did not do a spring TBR. I started my YouTube channel in winter, so I did not do a winter TBR. And summer, I am still currently editing that one. So we are behind on pretty much all seasonal TBRs. So this one I'm doing really early. Even though a lot of you guys told me August is considered fall. Which is fine, that's fine. I'm an August baby and I consider it summer on the cusp of fall, but that's fine. I am doing my autumnal reads. And there's quite a few of them. I love fall. I love seasons in general. I'm from Florida, so I did not have seasons. I only had summer, deathly hot, and rainy season. That's pretty much it. So I love the change in seasons now that I've moved, and it just warms my soul. We're going for Hygge, happy, fun adventure for my fall TBR. Start off with Outlander. I've been wanting to read Outlander for so long. I saw the TV show on Netflix and I cannot with the world. I loved it. I completely fell in love. And then I found out it was a book and I had so many regrets because I hate watching like the TV show or the movie before I read the book. But I was just like, I have to read that book. And then I saw that Barnes & Noble had it on sale and I got it on sale from Barnes & Noble. I got the first 4 books in the set. And these books are like the really awkward, like palm-sized books. So I'm having struggle with me wanting to read it, because it's not like my natural element, and plus it's really weird to keep the words so close together. So I don't know, it's just me, but I find it odd when the words are that close together because the print is quite small for me. Like this print level, that's a bit too small. I can read it perfectly fine, it's just really condensed. But for those who don't know what Outlander is, it is magical and beautiful. I suggest reading the book before the show if you're like me, but pretty much it's about Clare. She goes back in time on accident while she's on a vacation / honeymoon with her husband, and she ends up in Scotland of, what is it, 1743, and she's pretty much fighting for her life, going through like all the politics of Scotland for 1743, and she's now torn between her life in like the olden days versus her life in her current modern day. Her current modern day is 1954. I'm giving this a really bad explanation. Read the Goodreads on this because it's exquisite. I haven't read the book, and I feel like if the TV show does something as good as it did, the original source material must be like lavish. I'm excited to read this. I'm seeing mixed reviews on Goodreads right now, but that's fine. I'm still gonna read it. I really enjoyed the show, so I think I'm gonna be a fan. The next book is The Serpent Dove. This was one of the books I got into for my book haul of July. I was just buying books like crazy, and honestly, I'm still kind of buying books like crazy. It hasn't stopped. But this is one of the books that the bookstore associate told me she thinks I would like. It's supposed to be, I believe, a fantasy romance. I did not know that. This does have lots of mixed reviews, so I'm not going to figure out what it's about. I'm going to keep going to it blind because I don't want anything to potentially let me down or raise my expectations, since it does have such odd reviews around it. I'm going into this one blind, but this is my next book that I want to read for fall. I don't even know if this isn't exactly a fall book, but it was giving me fall-y vibes from the cover, so I'm hoping it has those autumnal, warm Hygge feelings, or it's like a really good, like, dark adventure. The next is The Sky and the Deep by Adrienne Young. Adrienne Young also wrote Fable and Namesake. I liked both those books. I gave it 4 stars. If you're into pirates, nautical lifestyle, you would like them. It's a fantasy, not a romance, but it's like a fantasy tale. And it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to read more of her work. I do like her writing style. And do I want to go into this one blind? Should I read the synopsis? Raised to be a warrior, 17-year-old Adrienne fights alongside Aska clansmen in an ancient rivalry against the Riki clan. Her life is brutal but simple. Fight and survive. Until the day she sees the impossible on the battlefield, her brother fighting with the enemy, the brother she watched die 5 years ago. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be a family drama. That's the vibes I'm getting. Faced with her brother's betrayal, she must survive the winter in the mountains with the Riki in a village where every neighbor is enemy, every battle score possibly one she delivered. Ooh, she has to live with the enemy. Oh, is this gonna be a fall in love with the enemy, enemies to lovers? It might be. I hope so. Please be a romantic fantasy. The Riki village is raided and she now has the opportunity to escape, but now she must rely upon her brother's friend, Frisk, who sees her as a threat. They must do the impossible. Unite the clans, fight together, or risk being slaughtered one by one. Okay, I feel like this is gonna be a forced proximity, fantasy, romance, enemies to lovers, and I feel like this is gonna be dark and gritty. I like the fact that she has a little axe and she's like in a shadow fighting. I'm enjoying that. We're here for it. One is 9th house. And one of you guys gifted me this book. Shout out to Christy's Purple Library for gifting me this book. She was my first ever book gifting for my Amazon wishlist, and when I tell you, I was so happy when this book came in. I didn't know what it was. Honestly, I thought it was my vitamins I had ordered that I thought was lost in the mail. And I was like, oh, there's an Amazon package. It must be my vitamins. No, it's not. It's 9th House by Leigh Bardugo, and it's been on my Amazon wishlist for almost a year now. And now I have it. Christina, thank you so much. Like, my heart was so filled. It was so warm. I cannot. So, 9th House is totally dark academia. It's giving the autumnal vibes everywhere. And honestly, I've heard mixed reviews about this one. Some people love it. Some people hate it. And because of that, I will be going into it kind of blind. I do know the vibes. It's like academic settings, somewhat of a fantasy mystery, I think. Not entirely sure. I'm hoping Leigh Bardugo is more interesting in this book because I feel like Shadow and Bone had so much potential. Dropped it. 6 of Crows I liked, but I didn't like. Like the first time I read it, horrible book slap. Horrible book slap. Crooked Kingdom is where it redeemed itself, but it wasn't like a 5-star for me. It was literally like a 4. So we're hoping 9th House does it. I'm trying to switch up my reading and potentially get into adult fantasy, so hopefully this does something for me. I hope so. Next is The Darkening. This is one of my fairy loot books from, I think, last month. This is by Sunya and it's a new release. It is gorgeous. I love the packaging for this book. The gold details, the sprayed edges, the end page art. Cannot with you. This book is about a fierce revolutionary, a desperate prince, and together they will face the storm or be swept away. I think this is a forced survival story and enemies to lovers. I think it's fantasy romance, but probably a subplot of fantasy romance. We shall see. Vespar is the daughter of failed revolutionaries. Her mother was sentenced to death by the queen, and she and her father has been on the run ever since. Then one day, Vespa and her father are caught up to by the prince and captured. Vespa will do anything to save her father's life. So she infiltrates the prince's elite squad and uses dangerous experimental magic. And she will even go as far as to cheat her way into his heart until she learns that there's more to her mother's death and her home is in danger. So she either has to trust the prince or, I guess, die. I don't know. I don't really like this synopsis. Honestly, I feel like they could have done better with that, but I'm excited for this. Sounds like enemies to lovers, first proximity, and I think there's gonna be some family drama in this. I'm here for the vibes. It's definitely giving me fantasy warrior, and I'm here for it. Next is Diviners. So everyone loves Diviners. I wish I loved Diviners, but I am still only like 100 pages in. I have the audiobook. I'm trying to get through it. Nothing about this book has tempted me to stay yet. but this is one of my fall TBRs. So many people love Diviners, and so many people read it during fall, so I'm gonna get through this book. We're gonna do it, because I bought the special edition. I really hope I like it. If not, I'm gonna have to get rid of it, because it's taking up space on my shelf. But since I'm already in like my moods and feels for Diviners, I say read the synopsis for this book, because I'm gonna continue going into it somewhat blind. At first I thought it was spooky dooky, but it's not, according to Goodreads, so I'm hoping if I continue with it, it's not gonna turn into like a horror book. I don't do horror. And that it'll remain pretty non-scary, so it's coming in for fall. It does have like spooky dooky elements, but it's not like scary, from what I read on Goodreads. I'm still not that deep into it to actually know. I'm still only 100 pages in. And those 100 pages has not tempted me to stay yet, but you're still on my fall TBR. Please do better. Redeem yourself. The next book is The Drowned Woods. This is also, I think, a Illumicrate book. Yes, indeed, it is. Oceans will rise. A kingdom will fall. I really wanted to read this book. I don't know exactly what it's about. I know it's about magic. Oh, there's Fae. Oh, there's the perfect synopsis. Part heist novel, part dark fairy tale, and rich with Welsh legends, The Drowned Woods is an ethereal fantasy. Whew. Yes, I'm going for ethereal fantasy, dark fairy tale. It's giving me probably like Hygge dark fairy tale vibes. What Fae? Also, whenever it said Welsh legends, I feel like Will Herondale would be like probably quoting legends from this book. I don't know what like little Welsh legends that Will talks to, like Cordelia and James and oh my gosh, I forgot the girl's name. No, this is like one of my favorite books. What is the sister's name? I don't remember her name. Is it Lucy? I think it's Lucy. Is it? This is really awkward for me. I love The Infernal Devices and I love the Last Hours trilogy. So the fact that I've forgotten one of my favorite characters' names is really disturbing to me. But Will Herondale is a fictional character in the Infernal Devices trilogy, and he's one of my favorite characters ever. So I feel like this ties into his backstory. And I just really want to read it. I feel like I'm gonna get Hygge vibes. The next book is Discovery of Witches. I believe this is a fantasy romance. A lot of people was reading it last year on their fall TBR, and I was like, I really need to read this book, but it was never available at the library, and I was just like, I'll get to it eventually, and eventually Christmas came and passed, and I never actually read this book. So now I want to read it. It's super popular. I'm gonna go into it kind of blind, and I'm ready for it. I believe it's witches, dark academia-ish, and fantasy romance. That's all I can give y'all. Oh, the summary says there's some historical realism. Yeah. The next one is A Gathering of Shadows by V. Schwab. These books totally give me like warm but also chill Hygge vibes. I don't know how to describe it, but this is part of the series for A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I did not like the first book, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I'm still pushing through because I want to be a V.E. Schwabber too. And I just really want to like her books, and I have been told to just keep going in this trilogy. It's gonna get better, I'm gonna love it. And I think there's gonna be some fantasy romance elements thrown in. I don't know. Since I'm on the fence about V.E. Schwab, I'm not gonna read the synopsis of this to you guys, but the first book was pretty much like 3 Londons, Grey London, Red London, I think it was a White London, and they were people who could travel between all these Londons, and they had powers, and I'm having a really bad time describing this to you guys. This is another book just read the synopsis for if you're interested in it, because I did not like that book. It was magical, it had very little fantasy romance. It was more like a prelude book in my opinion. And yeah, we're seeing if it gets better. And I got the nice copy, so I really hope it does get better. Please get better. And those are all the books I want to read for my fall TBR. There are about 11, maybe 12 books on this list. So if I read 3 to 4 books a month from my fall TBR, and I do August, September, October, November, I will be on track to finish my fall TBR. I really hope I finish it. I feel like this month alone, I'll probably finish maybe 1 or 2 of them. We're still in August, so high hopes, high hopes. But in all honesty, I am someone who like almost never finishes their TBR anyway, so don't be surprised. And that is all, folks. What is on y'all's fall TBR? I had such a struggle of like picking my vibe, wanting to try something new, but also like catching up on past fall books I always wanted to read, and feeling out my goals for fall. So let me know, what is on your fall TBR, and what is your autumnal cozy reads? I'm probably gonna do another video on like books I just think are very autumnal and would be good to read during the fall time that I've already read, for y'all's reference. And yeah, that's it, folks. Remember, I'm here every Friday. I still consider August to be part of summer, and be sure to subscribe. I have socials now. I'm on all of them, trying to post consistently. We're getting there. And that's all, folks. Happy reading. Bye.